Well, hello folks, and welcome back to Gaborn's Ranger Escapades, Episode 7. Last time, me and Wabomund made the journey from Quanos via boat and then foot to get here, to the Warrens. This place is an ancient tunnel system that has been taken over by the kobolds of Clan Kolbok. They did not build or design this place, but they have taken it over. It is a fairly dangerous zone. I highly suggest either being level 10 or above before you come here, and absolutely have a group. Single pulls are hard to find. Down below, you'll find various jail cells filled with Karens and Erudites that the kobolds have managed to capture out on their own little escapades through the world. There's a few quests, I believe, that deal with the Erudites and Karens that are captured here. I'm not actually going to be partaking in any of those quests, but you can look them up yourself. You've got trainer Dagsger here, who trains the kobold warriors in all the ways of combat, mainly biting and growling and slobbering on everything. The smithy Ragen and foodmaster Ragnar, can't roll my R's. This is where they prepare food and metal, apparently. You've got Prince Bragnar, who is kind of a jerk. I'm not entirely sure what level he is. I believe around level 18. And he is quite fun to fight. There's several other dangerous monsters in this zone. You've got the Mugglewump, who is level 25, I believe. And he also rampages when he gets low on life. So, good luck fighting that. In the throne room, you've got King Gragnar and High Shaman Drogic. Fighting them together for any group in here is going to be the ultimate challenge. King Gragnar is a Shadow Knight who can harm touch, and the Shaman obviously will be buffing and healing him if you are unable to split them up. Me and Wabomund, though, found Boomalicious still sitting around here and invited them to a group. Now, I'm going to let you know, I spent a lot of time in this zone, at least 2.5 weeks. I'm level 8 right now, but by the time I leave this place, I will be level 20 and have went through a ton of character changes that I will be detailing throughout this video. First, I'm going to show you guys more or less why this place is so dangerous. There's various clothing that drops here. Dusty Burlap, I believe Soft Wicker also drops here. And there's various other neat and interesting items that you can get from the named mobs and things like that. This zone does have something called the Trivial Loot Code, so if you do not get experience from something you killed, then you do not get loot from it. If you do not get these items while you are in the appropriate level range, then more or less you never ever will get them. Some of them can be sold and traded, some of them are no drop. The Soft Wicker, for instance, I believe is, you can trade it in, let's say you're here farming for a while, get a full set of it, you can take it to East Commons and make a pretty penny selling it. It's an interesting zone. There are two paths to go down whenever you come into this zone. We went to the right, which leads to this spiral staircase, where you will begin to see exactly why this zone is so dangerous. There are tons of kobolds, and I believe the lowest level ones in this spiral stairwell, kind of spiral ramp well, are level 4, while the Howler here is level 10 or 9 or something like that. Howlers proved to be the bane of our existence for a while we were leveling up, because we'd be doing just fine fighting a whole bunch of stuff, and then a Howler would come along and kind of ruin our day. The other important thing to know about this zone is that the respawn time is 6 minutes and 30 seconds. So by the time you fight your way down the spiral ramp here to these rooms and hallways, the kobolds up top are most likely already respawning. So it's imperative that you don't allow yourself to get in trouble, because by the time you try to run out, everything is going to be respawned behind you, and you're just going to get sandwiched and completely crushed and murdered. Boomalicious stayed with us just for a little bit before leaving. I'm not sure if we offended them or anything, but they did not last long. And finding a group here can really be hit or miss. I believe I mentioned this last video, but the Warrens is kind of a pain to get to. You guys saw the journey. Not a whole lot of people are willing to put in the investment of time to journey here, because again, there's no guarantee that you'll even get a group. It's quite often the only people you'll even see in this zone are erudite, like necromancers or shadow knights, because the other erudites with good faction, they don't go through Paineel. They'll hop on a boat to Quanos and go to greener pastures, but the evil erudites, this is the best bet they have to safely level up, since nobody likes necromancers and shadow knights, go figure. But yeah, we fought our way down here, killing kobold guards and stuff as we went, and I noticed that there are rabid kobolds. Something down here has been diseasing these kobolds and turning them slightly insane. I wonder what that is. Is it something that possibly a ranger, a healer, a walker of the earth could solve? We'll have to find out. They drop kobold molars, which you can turn in, and I will be showing where you turn them in later. You turn them in for a bit of experience, and if you turn them into the good faction guy, you lose faction with the heretics, which you can see down in the bottom right. I am gaining faction with the heretics and the high guards of Erudin. So if you turn the kobolds into either the good or bad faction, you lose faction with the other side. So I'm not going to be doing the kobold molar quest. The only other good thing from the kobold molar quest is that you have a small chance of getting ringmail armor, which would be absolutely perfect for my ranger. But I turned in so many, I've turned in like 12 or 15 molars or something like that, and I didn't even get a single piece of ringmail, so I just said screw it, I'm going to buy my gear in the East Common Lands. I dinged, we decided to call it for the night, and it was probably going to be a couple days before we could get back together. So, I had to run out from there because I cannot gate. And as I mentioned in the last video, getting to the Warrens is not the problem, it's leaving the Warrens that is the problem. Me and Wabomund came up with a plan. He was going to run through first, aggro those skeletons, and then he would zone back into Paineel, and I would hightail it to Erudin. I ended up shooting one of those kobolds because I saw his health, or shooting one of those skeletons because I saw his health dropping so quick. Either way, I made it because I'm a ranger, and ain't no dirty kobold gonna chase me down. Tiam Consir here is who you turn the kobold molars into in Erudin. He's the good guy. You get a little bit of experience. I don't even think my experience bar moved at all at level 9, so honestly they're kind of worthless. You get some gold, and like I said, you have a small chance of getting ringmail armor, and I didn't get any, so I kind of just said forget it. And then since I got level 9 down there, you guys heard me ding, I decided it was time to go and get my ranger spells. At level 9, rangers get access to some very low-level druid spells that provide a little bit of utility and are actually incredibly useful. While traveling through Quanos, though, I saw that the guards were fighting poor old Crow there. Crow is a bartender. I don't think he's a corrupt jerk like some of the people in Quanos. But somebody decided that he needed to die anyways, and the guards were more than willing to oblige and murder him. I'm guessing they charmed him, had him fight the guards, and then they ran to the zone line until Crow was killed. Who knows, maybe Crow is a placeholder for somebody, so they needed to kill him without taking a faction hit or something. I hightailed it back to Quanos Hills, turned in another note from Ron Castkin, and I got a freaking bandage. Still hoping to get one of those rings, even though, as of now, what is it? It's June 24th, I think. I still have not got one of those rings, and I'm level 30 at this point. I decided to go put some points into the level 9 skills that I got. Alteration. Rangers, I believe, do not get meditate. I tried it, hoping for the best. It didn't work. Divination. Needed to train dodge that I unlocked. You can see I get sneak at level 10, dual wield at 17. I'll be unlocking those at some point. I don't think I'll showcase that in the video. Dual wield's a very useful skill. put points into hand-to-hand, even though I hope I never have to punch things, because that would just be terrible. Abjuration, Channeling, and Evocation. You need to put points into these so you can level them up while you're casting spells. At first, whenever you're casting spells, they're just going to fizzle over and over and over and waste your mana. So you've kind of got to practice them, put some points into the skills so they raise. And then I went and bought my spells. These are the spells I've got. Lull Animal, Endure Fire, Flame Licks, Skin Like Wood, Snare, and Minor Healing. Snare is the most useful one out of those besides Flame Lick. Snare slows an enemy's movement speed down by like 35 to 50%, meaning even without Spirit of Wolf you can outrun something. Or you can kite something, which I will be showing off. Flame Lick is the Ranger's ultimate aggro generation spell. If your best cleric friend or your enchanter buddy is getting punched in the face by something, you cast that Flame Lick on the enemy and it will turn on you more or less instantly. I did not know this on live, that Flame Lick was so powerful. It doesn't really do any damage. It does a total of like 15 damage over time. It does 3 damage every tick. But, like I said, as a ranger, Flame Lick is your aggro generation spell of choice. Taunt is nice, but Flame Lick is what you want if you really want to tank for one reason or another. I cast Skin Like Wood and Endure Fire just to see how useful they are. And then I decided it was time to go fight some poachers while I'm here. I figured, you know what? They're blue con. I'm now strong enough I should be able to fight them. I can cast Minor Healing to heal myself for a little bit. I think it heals like 10 points of damage, which I noticed was not enough to offset the damage that he was doing to me. And despite the fact he's a blue con, my gear is still absolute trash, so I was getting my world rocked. I snared him and then decided to, what did I do? Oh, that's right, I turned tail and I ran. This is one of the Ranger's most useful and iconic abilities. Running away like a coward before you die. But I also have another trick up my sleeve. I decided, you know what, I'm going to pull the Ranger out here. The Haggard Sure-Shot and the other Rangers and Druids here are always talking about how they want to kill all the poachers they find. So I was like, okay, I'll bring the poacher out here, and surely one of these NPCs will help me kill him. Kind of like a guard killing the mobs in a newbie zone. Maybe they'll help me. Unfortunately, they do not care about poachers. They've got a truce with poachers or something. Thanks for nothing, Haggard Sure-Shot. You're a man that's all talk and no action, which is probably why you just stand there and shoot arrows at a non-moving archery target all day. Anyways, I decided I was going to try and kite this guy. I've got snare now. I've got a bow and plenty of arrows. Kiting as a ranger, at least at this level, is a very slow and painful process, but it is something that can be done. You simply snare the mob that you want to kill, and don't do it the way I'm doing it. You can be much more efficient. But you just run away and then plink them full of arrows, and eventually they will die. And all of that juicy solo experience will be yours. I will probably be solo leveling a bunch at some point like this, simply kiting things down with my bow and spells. But this was the first time on Gaborn that I got to kite something. He got on low health, and since he was snared, he just stood in place and let me shoot arrows straight into his backside. You bastard. That's for the bears. I felt a little bit better after killing him. You can see I got a decent chunk of experience too. And whenever I turn this poacher's head in, I get even more. I believe it's a total of, between killing the blue poacher and turning the head in, I believe I get 7% experience, 7 or 8%. It would be very lucrative if I was just wanting to casually play, for me to stay here in Surefall Glade and just kill poachers every now and then as they spawn. So yeah, I went to turn the head in. Got 2 experience for the head. I think I got 3 or 4 experience for killing the blue con. Pretty nice. Only 4 gold pieces, unfortunately. And whenever I turn to the head inn, he has a small chance, I think, of telling you about the master poacher Talim Shuntar, who we already know about. He told us to go talk to Hagar Shershot and bring up that name to see what Hagar has to say about him. At some point, I will be going and hunting down Talim and chopping his head off and bringing it back to the lazy Hagar Shershot here. I believe you get a fairly nice quiver that has arrow weight reduction that you can use. It's a 6-slot container. And as far as I know, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, arrow quivers that have weight reduction also act as haste items for archery. So if you have a quiver that has a 25% weight reduction, that's a 25% haste on your ranged attack for shooting arrows. So it's a pretty nice quiver that you can get fairly easily at probably around level 15 or 18, depending on exactly when you want to go kill Talim. I was done there and decided I needed to go someplace else. Florfin Blarp, a member of Kittens Who Say Meow, bumped into me outside running around, and he gave me 15 platinum, which I thought was pretty nice, so thank you, Florfin. That will go towards my spells, or towards some gear that I'm going to be picking up very soon. Took the boat back to Erudin, went to Toxulia Forest, bumped into a named poacher here, and by God, by the wrath of Karana, I will strike down all of you poachers. Every single poacher that we run across. So we take his head, and I can turn that in either in Surefall Glade or in Erudin. I'm not entirely sure what the reward is in Erudin. Came back here, I think this was like a week or two later, honestly. You can see I'm now decked out in full blackened iron alloy armor. I took on my bard some of the bone chips and pelts that Gaborn had been saving up, sold them, bought a bunch of blackened iron alloy stuff for cheap in the East Commons, and then I believe I tossed in the sword, the crown, and the mask that I had setting on in my bard's bank account. So, this is a very significant gear upgrade that unfortunately I don't really cover. Because I was not going to run Gaborn all the way to East Commons whenever I could just go there on my bard in about 10 minutes. In 10 minutes on my bard, I can run from Quanos to East Commons. On my ranger, it would take me 30 minutes to 50 minutes, and that's if I didn't die. So I kind of cheesed it, but whatever. I am now geared a little bit better to level up in this place. And we're going to put it to use. We teamed up with a necromancer named Atimo. For several days, actually. He was logging on at around the same time that we were. And, more or less just had our way with the kobolds down here. Casually killing them, having fun, learning how our characters work, testing out our new skills and spells and items, and generally having a good time. There's good old Atimo. I don't know what you're doing these days, Atimo, but I hope that you're doing good. I suddenly, out of nowhere, get blinded. And apparently, there were some spawns there, so that lesser shaman in the background blinded me, and then I start getting shanked by the kobold sentinel. You can see, I got under 20 hit points. The only reason I'm even alive is because my skin like wood, which I believe gives me 20 hit points. So, things are looking bad right here. The pet has aggroed some mobs on the other side of the water there. The sentinel here is pretty hard. I believe he's probably a yellow con to us at this point. And I've got low health, so I can't move at full speed. And whenever you've got low health, there's another thing that happens. It's called low hit point aggro. Any monster that's around you is even more likely to make a beeline for you in this game if you are low health, which I believe is under 25%. It might be something like if you're under 10% or something like that. Or if you set down. So Atimo came back to try and save me. He was going to set down and try to draw their aggro. I got turned around and lost. And that shaman back there, Lord Wacko, tried to heal me. You can see I'm at -2 health. I collapsed I believe the kobolds hit me and knocked me through the zone line right as Lord Wacko got a heal off, so he barely saved me. Thank you, Lord Wacko. I don't have to put another ranger death count up on the screen. Not to say I haven't died, and at this point, I believe while I was here, I probably died 4 or 5 times, and I didn't get any of them on video. Like I said, we were here for quite some time. I can't put every single death that I suffer as a ranger in these videos. I'm sorry, guys. As much as I would love to have an accurate death count for how many times I'm going to die on this character, I've only got so much hard drive space. I can't be recording 24/7. This game, this series has already like tied up something like 600 gigabytes of my storage drive, since it's taken me so stinking long to piece all of this stuff together. But by the time we were done here in the Warrens, I believe I had something like 15 to 20 hours of footage to go through, and I've narrowed it down to 26 minutes, roughly. So a lot of editing, a lot of recording for nothing, just in case something really interesting happened. But overall, it's been a good time. And whenever something like that happens where you think you're gonna die and then a stranger comes along and gets off a timely heal, it's just amazing. That's just amazing. Perfect timing, Lord Wacko. Thank you again. And sorry, Atimo. You were brave, but you paid the price. And that was pretty much it for the extent of what we did here in the Warrens. We just hung out, killed kobolds, made our way as far into the dungeon as we felt comfortable going. We didn't ever get to kill the Mugglewump. We didn't get to kill the king or the high shaman. At least we didn't get to kill them legit with like a group of similar level characters, because we never really had a good full group here. And like I said, it's hard to find people who come all the way out here. So I want to say thank you to Respect and Luffberry for joining up and grouping with us, helping us take down some kobolds. We did try to take down Mugglewump at one point, if I'm not mistaken, and we got brutally destroyed. We got some high-level druid buffs at some point and attempted to take on some of the other harder stuff and killed them. I didn't really record it because doing that type of stuff whenever you're super buffed and basically immortal isn't really that interesting. But grouped up with Malatroy here, Fazdaean, and Nefiri. They were all looking for group one night, and we just kind of formed up and went to see what we could accomplish. We never, as far as I can remember, had a tank. I was the only tank in the group, a ranger tank. This is where I learned the power of Flame Lick. Anytime you need to get a monster to pay attention to you as a ranger, just cast Flame Lick. You need a Fire Beetle Eye, and if you'll remember, I looted a Fire Beetle Eye all the way back at like level 2. And I plan to carry that one with me until, well, forever. Until my character dies in some type of server crash or the server dies, something like that. I'll never get rid of that Fire Beetle Eye. The hardest monsters that we killed as a group, I believe, were these Kobold Pit Fighters, which are like level 15. And they can drop some okay-ish gloves, I believe, for monks or something like that. Some more of that interesting gear that you cannot get to drop unless you are the appropriate level. Wabomund ended up looking like some type of wrestler from the 1980s. And I gotta point out, this place outside of the Warrens is called the Hot Tub. If you're ever looking for buffs or possibly looking for group members to join you in the Warrens, just take a seat in the hot tub. Maybe some high levels who are coming or going from the hole will stop by and give you buffs. Help make your day just be a little bit brighter and your experience farming go a little bit smoother. And that's pretty much it for the Warrens. I got level 20 here. Wabomund got level 20. And we decided to call it quits and head on out to find greener pastures. I believe our next stop is going to be Najina, over near Freeport and Nariak, so there's going to be quite an adventure coming up at some point. I don't really know when, because these videos are going to significantly slow down. Now that I am past the easy part of the game, everything takes more time than it used to. I am glad to be back in Quanos, though. The Quanos and Surefall area are my home, and there's a lot of evil still lurking around this place. A lot of mysteries and quests for me to knock out. But for now, I just want to say thanks for joining me, guys. Thanks to everyone who grouped up with us, who buffed us, and who helped us out while we were there. And I will see you guys next time. I'm not entirely sure what we're going to be doing, but I am sure that it is going to be fun. At least for me anyways. I'll see you guys next time.